Welcome back to a brand new video. China's interest in extreme sports sparked in 2004 with the creation of the National Association of Extreme Sports. That spark grew much bigger in 2007 with the arrival of the first extreme sports competition held in Shanghai, the Kia X Games Asia. The reason why extreme sports competitions became so famous in China is because of the country's ideal terrain for extreme sports. The mountains of Tibet were perfect for hiking to Everest. The island of Hainan, with its tropical climate, are very ubiquitous for surfing. The cliffs of Yangshuo for rock climbing, Hebei Providence for its ski resorts, scuba diving at Guangdong Lake. The list just goes on. So it became no surprise that extreme sports events have been a widely popular trend in most parts of China for the past decade or so. However, a tragic occurrence during an ultramarathon in the desert has led to some devastating consequences for all involved, revealing said sports events to be a little too extreme, even for the country's communist government. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video where today we will be discussing the major reasons why extreme sports are now banned in China. As always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more videos in the near future. On May 22nd of 2021, a long-distance marathon took place at the Yellowstone Forest Trail located at Beijing's city in Gansu province. The trail itself was at least 60 miles long and a total of 172 runners were competing in the event. At the beginning of the competition, some harsh weather conditions started brewing along the forest trail with freezing temperatures as well as violent storms of rain and hail taking part in the catastrophe that was yet to come. A couple hours into the ultramarathon, the competitors were running down the trail through the dangerous weather without any proper athletic clothing, gear, or protection. As a result, the event came to a screeching halt when 21 runners were found dead during the race. Meanwhile, 8 long distance runners suffered severe injuries during the fallout, while the rest of the competitors were hiding in nearby caves trying to survive while waiting for rescue teams that didn't even arrive until hours later. This was a massive product of poor contingency planning, poor communication, and deeply poor management from the staff prior to the Gansu ultramarathon. Families of the athletes that met their demise fell into constant grievance of the tragedy, saying it was a man made disaster. In retaliation to this travesty, China's General Administration of Sports issued a great indefinite suspension of all high risk sports events with unclear management, faulty safety protocols, and imperfect rules. The high risk sports events that were suspended include ultramarathons, desert races, trail running, and wingsuit flying. Moreover, the General Administration of Sports have also been conducting reviews of these sports events in order to develop massive improvements over the management system that has been operating behind these affairs. Now, what does this mean for extreme sports in China for the future? Well, by the time this video is being made and posted, there hasn't been any new developments on whether or not these sports events are going to reoccur in China. Many long distance runners who devoted their lives and made a lot of income from competing in marathons are truly devastated over the ban of these events, especially since it's been a major trend in China. In fact, commentators have also noted the explosion in popularity of endurance running in China, suggesting there were too few experienced organizers to run the hundreds of marathons that have been held every year. While this is the most gruesome accident in China's history with extreme sports, it's sadly not the first accident that's occurred. According to the China Mountaineering Association, there were approximately 160 accidents during these outdoor sports events back in 2014, and the number of dead people, as people who went missing, have also almost doubled since the year prior to that. Though it's obvious that this trend will begin to plummet due to the many casualties in Gansu, it still hasn't made any sort of impact on China participating in the World Championships that same year. Mostly because none of the sporting events were of high risk, and we already had COVID 19 causing certain impact at the time due to China's strict quarantine regulations. In December of 2021, the Chinese Weightlifting Association made the decision to withdraw from the World Championships because of the travel difficulties and quarantine difficulties caused by the COVID 19 pandemic. Even though the coronavirus technically originated in China to begin with, this just shows how the country has developed rigorous precautions over non high risk sports during a pandemic. So, it's pretty clear and highly possible for China to exercise stronger safety regulations while producing a wider and more experienced staff over high risk events during a few harsh weather conditions. Better weather gear being added to the mandatory list of equipment has been one of the top priorities, as well as better communication between staff members, rescue teams, and the athletes participating in the events. Another small upside is how many extreme sports are still allowed in other countries. These sports include, but are not limited to, canyoneering, barefoot skiing, kite surfing, not even a joke, you can look that up yourself, parasailing, underwater scootering, ice climbing, ice swimming, BMX racing, highlining, base jumping, and of course, cliff diving, where you literally jump off a cliff. There's even an annual competition called cheese rolling, where hundreds of participants are hurling down an extremely steep hill, chasing after a 4 kilogram wheel of cheese. Again, not a joke. Look it up. Now, we could make a whole nother video about the many extreme sports people are doing all over the world. And while injuries are still common with all these other extreme sports, it's safe to assume that a lot of these sporting activities, whether they are big events or just a couple of adrenaline junkies looking for a thrill, are properly organized by experienced professionals, which is exactly what China has simply been lacking in for the past few years. It's still unclear how long this Chinese ban on extreme sports will last, but all we know is that the Chinese government officials are continuously cracking down on these high risk sports and coming up with new safety protocols to prevent any more dangerous outcomes during future events. This will definitely be a huge factor in canceling a horrible repeat of one of the most tragic events in long distance running history. But let us know what you guys think. What new rules do you think should be provided to these sports events? How long do you think the suspension will be? Was an actual ban on these sports even fully necessary? And what extreme sport do you favor watching the most? Let us know in the comments section, and if you found this video very informative, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos like this one. Thank you for watching.